You have been moving like a man uncertain, thinking, pausing, doubting, as if the crown you were meant to wear is still up for debate. It is not. It was written before you arrived. But until you move like a man who already won, the world will treat you as if you have nothing to claim. This message will not inspire you. It will commission you. Listen carefully, for each word is a brick in the fortress of your new spirit. Doubt ends today. Motion begins now. Victory must first exist in the spirit before it can ever exist in sight. This is a truth as old as ambition itself. A man does not win when the world applauds. He wins when he moves as if the outcome were already secured, when he acts not from the hope of triumph, but from the certainty of it. It is not the clapping of hands that confirms victory. It is the stride of a man who knows that his steps are ordered by destiny itself. Doubt will creep in. Make no mistake about that. It will whisper that you have not yet earned the right to walk as a conqueror. But doubt is not a test of your ability. It is a test of your belief. It asks not whether you can, but whether you will dare to assume you already have. Those who falter in belief soon falter in step. Those who stand tall in spirit find that the world bends to the posture they assume. Andrew Carnegie, a man whose name shall echo through the corridors of industry long after the steel has turned to dust, behaved as a king long before his treasury bore the weight of gold. In the early days, when fortune was yet a dream, he carried himself with the composure, decision, and vision of a man already entrusted with power. He did not wait for the world to announce his worth. He declared it through every movement of his life. His spirit wore the crown before his head ever did. Henry Ford, another giant, looked upon barren fields and empty workshops and saw factories roaring with life. He saw not the emptiness of what was, but the fullness of what would be. He envisioned an industrial empire when others saw only the mud and toil of common ground. His mind moved into the future, and his feet followed faithfully, even when the world called him foolish. It was not the possession of wealth that made Ford powerful. It was the possession of vision, unshaken by the laughter of smaller minds. You must learn this lesson and learn it well. Victory is not something you chase. It is something you carry. It is not given. It is assumed. It is an identity that must be installed within the walls of your mind and stitched into the fabric of your daily being. You do not seek to earn it later. You move today as the man who already possesses it. When you rise from your bed, you must rise with the spirit of one who is appointed, not one who is applying. When you speak, let your words come forth as one whose course is set, not as one seeking permission to begin. When you labor, let it be with the energy of a builder whose edifice is already taking form, not as a mere dreamer lost in idle thought. Victory must be installed at the level of identity, not something you pray for, not something you negotiate for, but something you embody with every breath. The man who carries victory as his nature will find that the circumstances of life, though they may resist him at first, will eventually conform to the spirit he has chosen. You cannot look to the eyes of others to determine your worth. Their vision is too small, too clouded, too filled with their own doubts. Your standard must come from within. Your approval must be self-issued. Your decree must be spoken in the chambers of your own mind long before the world echoes it back to you. When doubt stirs, and it will, do not mistake it for a sign of weakness. See it for what it is, an invitation to believe more fiercely. Every moment of uncertainty is a threshold. You may shrink and return to the life you have known, or you may stride forward, not because the evidence is visible, but because the decision is irrevocable. There is no merit in waiting for proof. Proof follows faith, not the other way around. The rivers do not cut valleys through mountains because they ask permission. They carve their way forward because it is their nature to move. So must you. Now, hear me when I say this. If you are to succeed, you must install a new creed upon your heart. Say it aloud each morning. Let it settle in your chest and ring through your bones. Victory is written. I move accordingly. I do not seek approval. I enforce it. Speak these words not as a wish, but as a command. Speak them not from the lips, but from the very soul. Let them be the tone of your thoughts, the rhythm of your walk, the fire behind your eyes. You are not a man waiting to become. You are a man who has already become, and your daily steps are but the unfolding of that inward decree. The world responds not to the tentative, not to the wishful, but to the decided. Be decided. Be immovable. Be victorious first in spirit, and in due time, the material world will have no choice but to submit. The victory you seek is not far. It is not distant. It is as close as your next decision, as near as your next action, as sure as the belief you dare to hold when no one else believes for you. Walk now as though the crown rests upon your head. Speak now as though your name is already etched into the walls of history. Labor now as though the fortress of your future is already taking shape beneath your feet. Victory has always belonged first to the man who carried it when no one else could see it. And now it belongs to you. Doubt will not come to you shouting its presence. It will not barge through the doors of your mind with fanfare and clamor. No, it is far more dangerous than that. It comes dressed as a quiet counselor, a seemingly reasonable voice asking small, weakening questions that seem harmless at first, but hollow your spirit if you allow them to linger. It will whisper, "Are you sure you are ready?" It will murmur, "Perhaps you should wait until you are stronger, until the path is clearer, until you are approved by others." And if you listen, if you grant audience to this voice, even for a moment, you will find your steps slowed, your energy drained, and your destiny postponed. Every man who ever allowed doubt to occupy his ear without swift rebuttal has delayed his own greatness. Not by external forces, not by fate, but by surrendering the throne of his mind to a false counselor. Understand this: doubt cannot destroy a man. It can only convince a man to destroy his own ambition. There is no greater enemy of success than the man who hesitates when doubt whispers, for hesitation is the signal the subconscious obeys. Hesitation trains your inner being to treat fear as a master rather than as a ghost to be ignored. The great Abraham Lincoln, a man forged in adversity, did not silence fear by negotiation. He did not sit and reason with it. He did not attempt to remove it by waiting for the perfect hour. He silenced fear by overwhelming movement. When the world seemed against him, when defeat loomed larger than hope, Lincoln did not retreat into analysis or debate. He advanced. He spoke when his voice trembled. He led when no path was clear. He made decisions not because he was without fear, but because he refused to permit fear to decide in his place. This is the remedy, and there is no other. When doubt speaks, you must act faster, not slower. You must strike while the iron is still red with uncertainty. You must press forward while your legs still tremble. You must send commands to your own spirit that you are the master of your course, not the victim of unseen shadows. The idle man is the one doubt seeks. It finds no seat in the mind of the man in motion. It cannot keep pace with the one who advances relentlessly. Doubt consults only the man who stands still long enough to entertain its questions. It sits at the table of the idle, but is shut out by the one who moves as if destiny were breathing down his neck. You must install this truth within you. The man who moves faster than doubt thinks faster than fear. The man who moves does not wait to feel certainty. He manufactures certainty through action. His decision becomes his proof. His motion becomes his shield. When doubt rises, you must not slow to consult it. You must not give it the dignity of debate. You must move as a general moves in battle, swiftly, decisively, with the knowledge that indecision is deadlier than any enemy before you. You must no longer interview doubt. You must no longer sit with it, entertain it, or allow it to serve as counsel. Doubt is not your advisor. Action is your answer. When you feel the faint pull of hesitation, you must drive your body forward as a king drives his army toward the fortress gates. You must decide without pause. You must speak without apology. You must act without waiting for permission from the world or from your own weaker emotions. Speak it now and speak it boldly. I no longer interview doubt. Action is my answer. Let these words etch themselves into your consciousness like commandments carved in stone. The battle you fight is not against lack of opportunity. It is not against the circumstances of the world. It is against the small, unseen enemies within, the hesitations that seem polite, the fears that seem wise, the doubts that seem careful. Destroy them by decision. Overwhelm them with motion. Leave no room for their breath within the temple of your mind. The man who succeeds is not the one who waits until he feels courageous. He is the one who acts and allows courage to catch up with him on the road. Every man you admire, every monument built by human hands, every empire founded on the soil of vision was first forged by men who acted in spite of the whispering doubts that assailed them. Doubt does not disappear with time. It disappears with advancement. The longer you linger, the stronger doubt becomes. It gathers reinforcements with each hour of hesitation. It grows heavier upon your back with each day you postpone your destiny. But the moment you move, truly move, you will feel it fall away like the dead weight it always was. When you are tempted to delay, remember this: a single step taken in motion is worth more than 1,000 perfect plans left on the desk of the fearful. Doubt cannot ride a horse at full gallop. It cannot follow a ship at full sail. It cannot fly with the eagle who has already launched from the cliffs of decision. And so I say to you, move now. Move not with perfect confidence, but with perfect decision. Move not when you are applauded, but when you hear the silent call of your own future demanding your obedience. You must no longer wait for courage to approve your actions. You must act and drag courage into existence behind you. The man who moves is the man who wins. The man who hesitates is the man who tells stories of what might have been. You will not be the man who whispers regrets into the darkness. You will be the man who walks forward as if he has already seen the sun rise over his destiny. When doubt comes, as it surely will, smile at it, then move faster. For doubt only advises those who sit still long enough to listen. You, my friend, are not a man who sits. You are a man who strides forward as if the victory were already assured. Victory awaits the man who moves when others murmur. Victory crowns the man who acts when others ask questions. Victory belongs to the man who walks faster than doubt can whisper. And you are that man now. There is a law, eternal and unbreakable, that the world obeys without fail. The man who carries himself as a king commands respect long before the crown is placed upon his head. It is not wealth that first crowns a man, nor position, nor applause. It is the invisible posture of certainty, the unspoken authority that emanates from within him before any external sign confirms it. The world feels it before it sees it. Men and women may not be able to name it, but they respond to it instinctively. It is as if life itself recognizes a king long before the scepter is forged or the throne is built. And so I tell you now, if you wait to carry yourself with dignity until others appoint you, you shall wait in vain. You must become the man inwardly, in voice, in stride, in gaze, before the world bows to the reality of your new station. Consider the example of Edwin C. Barnes, a man whose name you may know from his partnership with the great inventor Thomas Edison. Barnes did not wait for wealth to walk like a man of destiny. He did not wait for Edison's approval to act as a peer rather than a servant. When Barnes first approached Edison, he was not a man of title. He did not possess fortune. His pockets were empty, but his spirit was rich. He carried within him a certainty that no lack of outward confirmation could erase. He looked into the eyes of Edison not as a beggar seeking favor, but as a future partner whose place beside the great inventor was already secured in spirit. His clothing may have been plain, but his posture was royal. His handshake was firm, his eyes steady, his words deliberate. And it was this unseen wealth that eventually drew Edison to trust him, to invite him into opportunities that the world would later applaud. Barnes had installed the posture of partnership before the prize of partnership could be given. Your own life must follow the same law. If you believe you shall become a builder of empires, then your every movement must proclaim it before a single stone is laid. If you believe you are to lead men, then you must speak with the cadence of command before a single title is attached to your name. Your voice must obey your future, not your past. Your stride must carry the momentum of a man who knows where he is going, even when others see only an unpaved road before him. Your gaze must not wander like the uncertain or flicker like the fearful, but hold firm as one who already sees the invisible walls of the city he is called to build. You must practice this law with all the seriousness you would give to the study of any great science. You must walk each day not as a man in waiting, but as a man appointed. When you rise from your bed, you must carry the atmosphere of victory upon your shoulders as surely as a king wears his cloak. When you enter a room, you must do so with the quiet dignity of a man who belongs there, not because he was invited, but because he has already claimed it within. When you speak, your words must be measured, your tone firm, not seeking to persuade others to believe in you, but demonstrating that belief through the very manner of your speech. The world does not wait for documents and declarations to grant power. It feels power long before it is written on paper. A man who speaks as if he is defeated will soon find that the world treats him as defeated. A man who moves as if he is uncertain will soon find his path littered with obstacles that his own hesitation invited. But a man who walks as if the victory were already sealed, who carries himself with the weight of future greatness already resting upon him, this man will find that doors open where once there were only walls. Opportunity favors the one who shows up wearing the uniform of his future, not the rags of his past. You must understand this deeply. The crown you seek is heavy. It demands strength before it is placed upon you. If you believe you are waiting for some external victory before you carry the weight, you misunderstand the divine order of success. You must feel the crown's weight now. You must allow its responsibility to shape your posture today. The prize is not given to the man who prepares to carry it after he wins. It is awarded to the man who has already borne its burden in secret. Speak it aloud now, not timidly, but with conviction. I walk as if it is done. The crown is heavy, and I already feel its weight. Say it again and let your body align with the words. Straighten your back, lift your chin, plant your feet firmly upon the ground as if destiny itself is waiting for your next step. You are not pretending. You are not play acting. You are bringing the unseen into the scene. You are teaching your mind, your muscles, your spirit to recognize what must be long before the world does. This practice must be daily, unwavering, sacred. You must not allow your environment to dictate your posture. Even if you labor in obscurity, even if no eye sees your diligence today, you must act as if the entire world is watching. For in truth, the most important audience, the one that will determine your fate, is always watching. It is the deep part of yourself that obeys what you rehearse. If you walk hunched over while dreaming of greatness, you are teaching yourself that you do not yet believe. If you speak with hesitation while planning to lead men, you are training yourself to doubt the very possibility of it. If you dress with carelessness while preparing to command respect, you are proclaiming inwardly that respect must still be earned rather than already possessed. But when you walk with strength before you are strong, when you speak with authority before you are given authority, when you move with purpose before the path is fully visible, you begin to engrave a new identity into your being. And it is this identity, not fortune, not applause, not circumstance, that the world will eventually recognize and reward. This is not mere imagination. It is not fantasy. It is law. It is cause and effect written into the very fabric of the universe. The man who builds inwardly first shall surely build outwardly after. The man who waits for the prize before carrying himself as worthy of it will watch it slip further from his grasp with each passing year. You must become so consistent in your posture that to behave otherwise would feel like betrayal. Let the way you walk, the way you sit, the way you shake a hand, the way you speak in private moments, all declare the same message. I am already appointed. I am already crowned. I am already walking in the victory assigned to my spirit. Repeat it as many times as necessary until it no longer sounds like hope, but resounds as memory. I walk as if it is done. The crown is heavy, and I already feel its weight. Carry yourself now as the man you have decided to become. Make no apologies for it. Accept no negotiations from the lesser version of yourself who still waits for permission. You need no further sign. The only sign you must seek is the one you give to yourself through action. Begin this very day. Move through every task, every conversation, every quiet moment with the bearing of a man who is already known for his greatness, even if none yet know his name. For in time, the world always acknowledges what the soul first declared in silence. You must carry the posture before you carry the prize, and once you do, you will find, as every great man has found, that the prize was not the reward for your posture. It was the inevitable outcome of it. There is a falsehood that has enslaved many men, a deadly lie whispered in the dark corners of their minds, that says greatness is reserved for those who feel no fear. They wait for fear to vanish before they act, not realizing that fear does not dissolve by waiting. It is burned away by the fire of decision. Understand this well. Fire is not a fleeting emotion. Fire is decision under pressure. Fire is the man who, when the cold winds of doubt blow hardest, sets his jaw, squares his shoulders, and moves forward regardless. Fire is the force born not from comfort, but from confrontation. Fear does not die in the absence of challenge. Fear dies in the furnace of action. Take the example of Thomas Edison, a man revered for his tireless work and world-changing inventions. Some imagine Edison as a man without fear, as if his victories were born from a life untouched by doubt. But that is a myth. Edison was not fearless. He was faithful. He did not conquer fear by avoiding it. He conquered fear by confronting it daily, by stepping into the unknown with the full knowledge that failure was possible, and by deciding that he would advance regardless. His fire was not born of special gifts. It was built one act of decision at a time, until fear no longer held dominion over him. You must therefore build your own internal fire with the same daily commitment. Do not wait for your spirit to feel unshakable before you move. That day will never come by chance. It must be constructed. It must be forged. Each day must become a battlefield upon which you confront a discomfort, a hesitation, a fear, and claim it as conquered. It does not matter how small the act appears. Whether it is a conversation you dread, a step you have long delayed, a new discipline you have avoided, it matters not. What matters is that you make confrontation your habit. For every act of confrontation, no matter how seemingly minor, is fuel for your inner fire. And the man who feeds his fire daily soon finds that fear flees at the very sight of him. You must make this a sacred ritual, to seek out one act of discomfort each day and to master it. Do not allow yourself the luxury of comfort's slow death. The man who grows comfortable is the man who allows fear to build its fortress unseen. Every act of confrontation is a hammer swing against that fortress. Every decision to move despite hesitation is a blow against the prison of smallness. Each time you choose fire over freezing, you loosen fear's grip upon your destiny. Do not imagine that great men act because they feel no tremor within. They act because they have decided that the tremor is not their master. They act because they have fed their spirit daily with the fire of small victories until momentum itself carries them forward. In the beginning, the flame may be small. It may flicker. But with every act of obedience to your higher self, with every refusal to freeze when fear whispers, the fire grows. It becomes a force that not only drives you forward, but terrifies the fears that once terrified you. You must say aloud with voice firm and spirit aflame, "Fear sees me and flees. I do not freeze, I flame." Repeat these words not as empty phrases, but as marching orders issued to your own soul. Let them carve new grooves into your mind, deeper than any hesitation. Let them ring louder than the whispers of doubt that once ruled your decision-making. Let no day pass without throwing another log on the fire of your spirit. The discomfort you conquer today will be the comfort you stand upon tomorrow. The conversation you dread today will be the influence you wield tomorrow. The discipline you adopt today will be the dominion you enjoy tomorrow. Fire is not found, it is built. It is shaped by the deliberate pursuit of discomfort and the triumph over it. The man who seeks comfort shrinks even if he gains riches. But the man who seeks to conquer himself expands, even if at first the world does not notice. Consider again the life of Edison, who in the process of inventing the electric light faced thousands of failures. The world called him a fool, a madman, a dreamer drunk on impossibility. But Edison had built within himself a fire so fierce that the ridicule of the world could not quench it. He did not freeze when his experiments failed. He did not flinch when the newspapers mocked him. He flamed. He rose earlier. He worked longer. He refined his craft under the pressure of failure until success could no longer resist him. And so it must be with you. You must see every moment of hesitation not as a reason to pause, but as a signal to press forward faster. You must make fire your first instinct, not fear. When you feel the cold hands of uncertainty touch your mind, let that be the trigger, the clarion call to move, to act, to decide. Teach your mind that fear's presence is not a command to stop, but an alarm to advance. There must be no negotiation with fear. Fear is a liar dressed as caution. Fear is the voice that would keep you safe and small at the same time. Fear is not a friend to be listened to, but an enemy to be outpaced. Every time you move forward in the face of fear, you rob it of power. Every time you act while your knees still tremble, you teach yourself that victory belongs not to the fearless, but to the faithful. Declare it again, louder this time, as if each syllable were fuel poured upon the fire in your chest. Fear sees me and flees. I do not freeze, I flame. This must become your nature, not merely your intention. You must seek fire as a craftsman seeks perfection, as a knight seeks the next battle, as a king sharpens his sword even when no war is yet declared. Each day presents a field where fear and fire contest your future. Choose fire. Choose it before you feel ready. Choose it before the perfect moment arrives. Choose it when it is most difficult, for that is when the victory counts most. Remember always, the day you wait for fear to leave before you act is the day you have already surrendered the crown meant for you. Fear is not your signal to stop. It is your summons to rise. It is your invitation to build a spirit so invincible that the storms of life bow before you without demand. Fear fades before fire. It cannot stand in its presence. It shrinks, it recoils, it withers and dies when faced with a man who flames forward without apology. You are that man if you choose to be, not because you are free of fear, but because you are faithful to the fire within you. Feed that fire today with action, with motion, with relentless confrontation of every hesitation that dares to cross your mind. Let no small fear pass unanswered. Let no whisper of doubt find lodging in your heart. Rise now, move now, decide now, speak now. I do not freeze, I flame. There is a force within you that even the world cannot resist, a power that shapes destinies and turns invisible desire into visible achievement. That force is your voice. Your spoken word is not a mere movement of breath. It is a command issued to the unseen forces that govern the unfolding of your life. The man who speaks his future aloud with certainty bends the very structure of his circumstances toward his will. The man who speaks tentatively, who mumbles his desires or couches his dreams in apology, he receives in kind. A life marked by hesitation and half-completed victories. The world is a mirror that answers not to your wishes, but to the conviction of your speech. Words spoken aloud shape the spirit faster than silent thought. What you mutter internally has power, yes, but what you declare outwardly has the weight of finality. The subconscious mind, the seat of all your habits, beliefs, and automatic actions, responds most quickly to words carried on breath, because breath is the very sign of life. When you speak, you instruct not only yourself, but the very environment that surrounds you. You set the tone for the day, for the year, for your life. And the man who speaks his destiny before the world has yet confirmed it is the man who eventually compels the world to obey. Consider the men trained by Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie, that titan of steel and industry, understood that the shaping of fortunes begins not in the hand, but in the mouth. He trained his men not merely to think with decisiveness, but to speak with it. In the presence of Carnegie, you did not say, "I think we might succeed." You said, "We shall succeed, and here is how we are proceeding." Carnegie knew that deliberation in speech produced weakness in action. He demanded language that was final, declarative, precise, not for vanity's sake, but because he understood that the mind follows the voice. Speak weakly and the mind falters. Speak strongly, and the mind builds bridges where before there were only rivers. You must therefore make it your daily ritual to declare your success aloud each morning before you engage with the world. Before you allow the noise of other men's doubts to brush against your spirit, you must fortify yourself with the sound of your own certainty. Rise early, stand tall, find a place where you may speak aloud without apology or fear of being overheard, and speak your victories into existence. Declare who you are, what you are building, what you are commanding into form. Say it not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a fact yet to be seen. Your voice must carry the tone of one who does not seek permission, but who issues decrees from the throne of his own mind. My voice is the sound of destiny. I declare, and so it becomes. Repeat these words until the very marrow of your bones believes them. Do not concern yourself with whether you feel their truth in the beginning. Feeling is the servant of repetition. Feeling follows structure. Speak until you feel. Do not wait to feel before you speak. This is the discipline of creators, not the pastime of drifters. The man who only speaks boldly when he feels bold will rarely move the world. The man who speaks boldly until the feeling follows commands empires into existence. And understand, this world does not respond to hesitation. It responds to direction. It does not answer the whimper of the timid. It answers the roar of the decided. Speak your chief aim aloud. Speak your certainty. Speak your victory, and in time your world must bow to the consistency of your command. There is a law, silent but unbreakable, that governs this realm. It is the law that says the world shapes itself around the words spoken with true belief. This law does not favor the talented or the privileged. It favors the man who speaks as though he has already seen the end and smiles at its certainty. Such a man may begin in poverty. He may begin unknown and overlooked, but he will not end that way. His word, repeated, firm, and clear, forges the steps beneath his feet as surely as steel is forged in fire. Carnegie himself spoke his empire into existence before the first steel beam was laid. When others questioned, he declared. When others wavered, he decided. When others sought safer ground, he proclaimed the coming of an empire. And because he spoke it, he aligned every faculty of mind, every ounce of energy, every opportunity that fate sent his way into the realization of that spoken destiny. You are no different. You stand now on the edge of greatness, not because it has been handed to you, but because you dare to declare it before it has appeared. Each morning is your battlefield. Each word is your sword. Will you speak the language of victory, or will you allow silence to rob you of your crown? The choice must be made daily, hourly, moment by moment, and when you slip, and you will, for every man must battle old habits, return to your voice. Speak louder, speak clearer, reaffirm what you are building, even if the hands are still empty, especially if the hands are still empty, for it is in those moments when no harvest yet shows that the declarations matter most. Say it now with me. My voice is the sound of destiny. I declare, and so it becomes. Let these words be etched into the walls of your mind. Let them be the first stones laid in the foundation of your empire. When you rise in the morning, before you touch pen to paper, before you answer the demands of the world, answer first to your own destiny. Declare your name, declare your aim, declare your future, and walk into the day as a man who has already received the command from Providence itself. Never allow another man's silence, another man's doubt, another man's small speech to shrink your own. The world you are building was entrusted to you alone. Others may not see it yet. Others may mock it. Others may dismiss it. That is of no consequence. Their vision is not your responsibility. Your voice is. Your words are. Your daily declarations are the mortar and stone of your becoming. Speak your success before the world hands it to you. Speak your influence before others recognize it. Speak your wealth, your leadership, your strength, your dominion over fear, your discipline over comfort. Speak it all into being. Then move as one who has already received it, even if no man yet applauds. Remember this, and remember it well. A man's destiny is not written in the stars, but spoken first from his lips. Declare now. Declare again tomorrow. Declare until your voice no longer shakes, and your spirit no longer questions. And in the fullness of time, the world will not wonder who you are. They will know. For you will have spoken yourself into the man you were always intended to be. Speak now and speak forever after. My voice is the sound of destiny. I declare, and so it becomes. Now let's talk about a secret known to all those who have built lasting empires, a law invisible to the common man, yet as certain as the sunrise. It is this: you must act as though you have already received the thing you seek. Not in pretense, not in fantasy, but in spiritual certainty. You must give thanks, you must walk, you must labor, not as a beggar pleading for some future blessing, but as a sovereign who has already taken hold of his treasure. The world responds not to those who hope timidly, but to those who move with the bearing of men who know they are already in possession of their destiny. It is not the waiting heart that wins. It is the assuming spirit, the grateful soul who labors as though the reward has already been bestowed. Gratitude in advance is the highest expression of faith. To thank the invisible before it becomes visible is to tell the infinite intelligence that you believe more in its promises than in the empty testimony of your current surroundings. It is a spiritual audacity, a boldness of soul that the timid cannot understand and the wavering dare not attempt. But you must attempt it. You must live it. Each morning before the day lays its hands upon you, before doubt can whisper and fear can rattle its chains, you must rise and give thanks aloud. Speak not of what is missing. Speak not of what is lacking. Speak only of what has already been granted to you in spirit, though your eyes have yet to behold it. Say to yourself with conviction and clarity, I am so happy and grateful that I have already achieved my definite chief aim now. Speak those words as though the ink of destiny is still wet upon the contract of your success, and you are simply stepping into the fulfillment of an agreement already made. Speak them not once, but repeatedly, with emotion, with fire, with the weight of a man who knows he cannot be denied. Even when the field looks barren, even when the coffers are empty, even when no man yet believes, especially then must your gratitude burn brightest. Henry Ford understood this truth. When others looked at the dirt roads and the sputtering engines and said he was mad to imagine a horseless world, Ford expanded. He did not shrink before their laughter. He did not wait for the applause of the multitudes. He moved forward as though the cities were already filled with automobiles, as though factories hummed with ceaseless production, as though the dream had already taken hold. His gratitude was not delayed until others believed. It was expressed in advance, and it fueled a spirit that could not be conquered. You must do the same. Gratitude must not be an afterthought, reserved for the day when the fruits of your labor are piled high before you. Gratitude must be your first motion, your morning sacrifice, your evening offering. You must give thanks for the mansion while you are still laying bricks. You must give thanks for the book while your pages are still blank. You must give thanks for the wealth, the influence, the strength, the mastery, before a single man recognizes it in you. Gratitude is not the end of achievement. It is the beginning. I act not in hope, but in harvest. It is mine, and I move as its keeper. These are the words that must govern your inner world, not the language of lack, not the phrases of pity, but the proclamations of possession. Every morning, you must hold a silent council with your destiny. See your goal not as a distant dream, but as a present reality. Give thanks for it. Touch it in your mind. Walk among it in your imagination. Labor in the fields of it with your words and your actions. This is not foolishness. This is faith with legs. You will be tempted to think otherwise. The world, blind as it is to invisible power, will mock you. They will say, "Where is your proof?" And you will answer, "It is in my walk. It is in my work. It is in my unwavering gratitude for a future so certain it demands my obedience today." Understand this. The man who waits to see before he believes has already forfeited his power. The man who believes before he sees commands all the unseen forces of the universe to arrange themselves in his favor. Do not allow appearances to deceive you. What you see today is the harvest of yesterday's beliefs. What you speak today is the seed of tomorrow's reality. Sow boldly, sow daily, sow thankfully. Every day that you express gratitude for the thing you seek as if it were already yours, you strengthen your alignment with it. You bind it to you with cords stronger than iron, the cords of faith. Each morning as you rise, look into the unseen, see the world you are building, stand before it in spirit, walk through it in mind, touch its walls, hear its sounds, breathe its atmosphere, and as you do, give thanks, not timidly, not questioningly. Give thanks with the full authority of one who understands the power he wields. Say, "I am so happy and grateful now that I already possess my chief aim." Say, "Victory is mine, and I labor today as a man living in its full light." Say, "I act not in hope, but in harvest." Carry this spirit with you into every task. Approach your work as though it is worthy of a king. Speak with the tone of one who is already recognized. Move with the efficiency of one who has no time to waste, for the crown sits heavy upon his brow, and the kingdom waits for his rulership. Every act you perform, every conversation you hold, every decision you make must bear the mark of a man living not in aspiration, but in realization. Do not let your outer circumstances dictate your inner state. Let your inner state dictate your outer actions. Let gratitude in advance be your shield against despair, your weapon against fear, your song against the silent doubts that creep in unseen hours. A man who can give thanks before he sees is a man who can command the future to bend to his will. Say it with me now. I act not in hope, but in harvest. It is mine, and I move as its keeper. When you have trained your mind to live in this state of gratitude, you will find that circumstances yield more quickly to your touch. Opportunities will seem to appear as if by magic. Resources will come not because you begged, but because you built the invisible before it became visible. Your words will have weight. Your movements will have authority. Your dreams will move closer, drawn by the magnetism of a man who already lives among them. Do not falter. Do not second guess. Do not stop short. Gratitude is your engine, your shield, your sword. When others grumble at the difficulty of the climb, you will give thanks for the summit already reached. When others mourn the distance yet to travel, you will rejoice in the journey already complete in spirit. Victory is not something that arrives one fine day after a series of fortunate accidents. It is something that is declared, seized, held in the heart, and lived long before it becomes apparent to the slower eyes of the world. And so you must begin today, not tomorrow. Not when the money arrives, not when the papers are signed, not when the applause rings out. Today, right now. Stand up, square your shoulders, and say with clarity and conviction, I am so happy and grateful that I have already achieved my definite chief aim now. Walk with the steps of a man entrusted with treasure. Work with the diligence of a steward safeguarding his inheritance. Speak with the calm authority of one who knows that what he has planted must bear fruit in due time. Gratitude in advance is the mightiest evidence of your faith. It is the incense that rises from your altar of belief. It is the proof that you are no longer waiting. You are living. You are no longer begging. You are building. You are no longer doubting. You are declaring. And as you live this way, as you walk, speak, and labor in the spirit of possession, you will find that life, that great and faithful servant, cannot help but hand you the very things you have already claimed with your gratitude. Victory, wealth, influence, mastery. These things are not granted to those who wait and whimper. They are granted to those who rise and give thanks before the gates have even opened. So let this be your daily song. I act not in hope, but in harvest. It is mine, and I move as its keeper. There is a moment in every man's journey toward greatness when he looks around and realizes he is seen, but not celebrated. Eyes follow him, but not with admiration, with suspicion, with doubt, with silent questions. You must know now, and forevermore, that there will always be witnesses to your early movement. There will always be men who do not believe, who whisper their uncertainties into the winds as you pass. They will not shout their doubts openly, for they lack the courage even to doubt with strength. Instead, they will exchange glances, they will smile with thin lips, they will speak in corners and nod their heads with the self-satisfaction of those who believe they have already judged correctly. They will doubt you because they cannot imagine moving as you move. They will doubt you because your certainty convicts their hesitation. But hear me well. Their doubt is not your compass. It is their chain. You must not look to the doubter for your confirmation. You must not seek permission in the eyes of the man who has never dared to leave the familiar path. Their glances, their murmurings, their shrugs of disbelief, these things are not the signals by which you steer. They are the echoes of lives half-lived, of dreams left to rot in the fields of hesitation. The man who rises must accept this as law. He will be doubted, and he must walk through the doubt with a posture untouched, a stride undeterred, a mind unclouded. The doubters will see your early steps and laugh. They will witness your initial struggles and conclude you are foolish. But your business is not to convince them. Your business is to continue. Think now of Theodore Roosevelt, a man who knew what it was to be doubted. Roosevelt was born frail, weak of body, gasping for breath in a world that demanded strength. And when he announced to the world that he would conquer his body and his destiny, when he stepped into the arena of politics with a fire that refused to dim, the critics sharpened their pens and their tongues. They called him reckless. They called him childish. They called him dangerous. But Roosevelt did not bend to their appraisal. He did not sit down to explain his dreams to the comfortable men seated in their armchairs of safety. Number, he let their doubt become the whetstone against which he sharpened his own spine. He let their resistance fuel his persistence. And in time, the critics who laughed became the historians who praised, for the world must eventually bow to the man who refuses to kneel. You must move with the same spirit. You must not waste your breath explaining yourself to men who have never even tried to build. Your explanations will fall on deaf ears, and worse, they will drain your spirit of the fire it needs to carry you through the days of unseen labor. Privacy is your fortress in the early days. Privacy is your shield against the poison of the doubters. When you move, move without announcement. When you build, build without broadcast. Let your results speak where your words would fall flat. Understand this truth. The seed must be planted in the darkness before it ever reaches for the light. So must your dreams be nurtured in privacy, away from the cold breath of the doubters who would freeze them before they have taken root. I tell you now, strengthen your privacy, protect your vision in its infancy, move without explanation, execute without apology, grow without broadcasting, speak only when the fruits of your labor have forced the doubters to change their song. Until then, let them doubt, let them mock, let them whisper. It is none of your concern. Their doubt is the fertilizer for your fire. Repeat these words daily as your shield against their unbelief. I do not explain, I execute. Their doubt is the fertilizer for my fire. Each morning as you rise, remind yourself that your approval has already been granted by the highest authority, the fire that burns within your own chest. You need no vote from the fearful. You need no consent from the cautious. Your only duty is to move forward with the gait of a man already confirmed by destiny. Their eyes may watch you stumble. Their mouths may speak of your missteps. Let them. For they are not the architects of your vision. They are not the authors of your story. Their names will not be etched beside yours when the history of your triumph is told. Every giant who has ever lived passed first through the valley of doubt. Every man whose name is remembered today for greatness was once the subject of laughter, of scoffing, of disbelief. The world laughs at greatness before it crowns it. This is the unchanging pattern of human nature. But you must not laugh back. You must not stoop to quarrel with those whose spirits have never even left the ground. You must rise above with silence, with focus, with unshakable private labor. You are not here to be understood. You are here to build. You are not here to be praised. You are here to produce. You are not here to collect approval like a beggar rattling his cup. You are here to claim dominion over the work your hands have been charged to perform. Let the doubters misunderstand you. Let them dismiss you. You owe them no correction. You owe them only the spectacle of your inevitable success. And when you build it, when the work stands tall like a monument against the skyline of your efforts, you still owe them nothing. No apologies for your early obscurity, no explanations for your relentless motion, no commentary on their blindness, only silence, and the sound of your footsteps moving ever onward. Mark this well. He who waits for universal approval will wait forever. He who demands understanding from all men will never be free to act with the swiftness required to seize destiny. Freedom belongs to the man who no longer cares what the watchers think, who no longer craves the applause of the crowd, who no longer adjusts his gait to the murmurings of small minds. Their doubt is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that you are moving ahead of the pack. Their resistance is not proof that you are wrong. It is proof that you are walking a road they do not have the courage even to glimpse. And when you understand this, deeply, irrevocably, you will walk with the calm assurance of a king passing through a marketplace of beggars, unmoved by their jeers, undistracted by their petty concerns. Say it again, I do not explain, I execute. Their doubt is the fertilizer for my fire. This is the mindset that will carry you through the dark mornings and the empty halls. This is the armor you must wear when your name is still unknown and your victory is still invisible. This is the fire you must stoke when the night feels long and the wind is filled with the laughter of the unseeing. And if you hold to it, if you refuse to surrender your spirit to the gravity of their expectations, you will one day find yourself standing in the very halls they once said you could never enter. The world remembers not the cautious, but the courageous. It honors not the man who explained himself well, but the man who built something undeniable. Let your life be your answer. Let your work be your reply. Let your victories be your voice. Move now. Move without hesitation, without justification, without waiting for the nods of men whose names history will forget. You are not building for them. You are building for the destiny that calls you in the night, for the vision that stirs you before the sun has risen, for the fire that doubt could not extinguish and laughter could not snuff out. The doubters will not disappear, but they will be left behind, and you will rise. Every man dreams of a throne, but few understand where thrones are built. They are not built in the eyes of the crowd, nor are they assembled under the sound of applause. Thrones are crafted in the silence where no audience watches, where no praises are spoken, where the only witness to your labor is the man you see in the mirror each morning. It is there in the solitude that most men avoid that greatness is forged. What you conquer alone prepares you for what you will one day command openly. You must see this as law, as principle, as unbreakable truth. The victories you win when no one is looking are the foundation stones of the empire you will one day rule when all are watching. Solitude is not a punishment. It is a preparation. The man who fears silence will never endure success, for success brings its own brand of isolation. The greater the height, the fewer the voices that can reach you. The higher the throne, the more vital the strength of your own mind becomes. If you cannot command yourself in the hidden hours, you will crumble when the public storms rage against your name. Therefore, embrace solitude now as the training ground, the proving fire, the sacred preparation for what is to come. Think of John D. Rockefeller. Before the name Rockefeller filled the air of commerce and the ink of newspapers, before he became a living symbol of influence and wealth, he was a young man hunched over ledgers, recording every penny, every transaction, every decision. No crowd gathered to celebrate these early disciplines. No crowds clapped when he denied himself pleasures in favor of investment. No voices cheered when he measured every action against his definite chief aim. But these private rituals, unpraised and unseen, built a mind so precise, a character so disciplined, that in time, entire industries bowed before his will. Rockefeller's public dominance was not a miracle. It was the harvest of private victories sown in deliberate, invisible persistence. You must live with the same devotion. You must establish rituals that serve the man you are becoming, not the man you were. And you must be content, even joyful, that no one else will see them. Private rituals are the hidden roots that support the public tree. Without deep roots, the storm of life will tear your empire from the soil. It is the man who prepares in the dark who shines in the day. You must create sacred practices for yourself, habits of mind, of body, of spirit, that no applause can reach and no distraction can steal. Rise early, even when there is no one to judge your punctuality. Speak your affirmations aloud, even when there are no ears to hear them. Train your body, even when no competitions await. Write your goals, refine your plans, sharpen your mind, not for the accolades of the moment, but for the mastery of your destiny. Understand this clearly. The world rewards the man whose discipline does not depend upon witnesses, for when success calls, it does not knock politely. It arrives like a storm, and only the man who has mastered his own soul in secret will stand firm when it comes. To aid you in the forging of your private victories, declare these truths aloud each morning. I am the type of man who rises early to meet his destiny without waiting for applause. I am the type of man who disciplines his mind before the world attempts to shape it. I am the type of man who builds daily rituals stronger than circumstance or mood. I am the type of man who respects private promises more than public praise. I am the type of man whose silent victories are the foundation of his unstoppable life. Speak these affirmations not as wishes, but as orders. Issue them to your subconscious with the authority of a general giving commands to his army. Your spirit will listen, your mind will obey, your body will follow. You must also learn to treasure these private victories. Celebrate them not outwardly, but inwardly. Feel the silent triumph when you complete your morning ritual in darkness and quiet. Feel the swelling of power when you deny the easy pleasure for the sake of the higher calling. Feel the strengthening of your will each time you act without needing the approval of the world. These silent victories compound. They build unseen wealth within you. They sharpen the blade of your spirit so that when the time comes to wield it publicly, you strike true and without hesitation. Remember this: a throne that is built too quickly without the foundation of private mastery will collapse under the weight of public attention. But a throne built steadily, silently, in the hidden hours of early mornings and late nights, in the small disciplines and the unseen battles, will endure long after the crowds have moved on to their next spectacle. You are not here to impress. You are here to prepare. You are not here to gather cheers. You are here to gather strength. Do not concern yourself with whether others notice. Do not waste a single breath wondering if someone is watching. Conduct yourself each day as if a silent witness, the future you, stands in the corner, recording every decision, every action, every moment of discipline. For in truth, he does. Your future self, the man crowned with success, is being shaped by every private victory you win today. And when you step onto the public stage, when the lights shine and the world watches, you will not need to pretend. You will not need to fabricate strength. You will not need to summon courage. You will walk with the quiet, unstoppable confidence of a man who knows that he has earned every step, every word, every ounce of his authority, not before the crowd, but long before, in the private sanctuaries where success is truly born. You must love the lonely path. You must rejoice in the silence. You must become the kind of man who smiles when there are no witnesses and conquers when there are no cheers. Because it is in those moments when the world is silent that you are truly building the throne upon which you will one day sit. Victory is not created in the hour of recognition. It is created now, here, in the unseen minutes, by the choices you make when no one else is around to hold you accountable. Be your own judge. Be your own critic. Be your own greatest ally. And when the time comes, the world will have no choice but to recognize what you already know. You were a king long before they ever called you one. Each morning, before the noise of the world touches your spirit, you must meet yourself face to face in the sacred stillness of your own reflection. You must make it your unwavering ritual to stand before the mirror, not as a man hoping, not as a man waiting, but as a man already crowned. In the early hour, when the mind is yet unspoiled by the doubts and demands of the day, you will declare aloud, "It is done. I walk accordingly." These are not words to be spoken lightly. They are not a charm nor a wish. They are the firm command issued from your spirit to your body, to your mind, and to your destiny. You must see the reflection not as it appears today, but as it will appear once your great work is accomplished. You must describe yourself aloud in vivid, certain detail, as the man who has already triumphed over every obstacle, as the man who already moves with command, whose voice carries the authority of one who has fulfilled his purpose. Speak of your strength. Speak of your discipline. Speak of your influence, your wealth, your peace, your unwavering conviction. Leave no corner of your future identity undescribed. Do not shrink before the mirror. Do not mumble your greatness as though it were a fragile thing. Stand tall, shoulders back, chin level, voice steady. Speak as one issuing orders to the universe itself. Each word you declare is not an idle sound. It is a stone laid in the foundation of your future. When you say, "I walk as a man who has already achieved," you must allow your posture to match the words. Feel the alignment of your spine, the strength in your breath, the certainty in your gaze. When you say, "My energy radiates confidence and command," you must let that energy course through your limbs, through your eyes, through the very atmosphere that surrounds you. When you say, "My voice is the voice of a king," speak with the tone that leaves no doubt, not in yourself, not in the walls around you, not in the heavens above. You must track these elements with the diligence of a builder laying the stones of a temple. Each day for 21 days, observe yourself closely. Track your posture. Did you stand like a man in authority, or did you allow old slouching habits to creep back into your frame? Track your energy. Did you rise with vigor, with direction, or did you permit the stagnant moods of lesser days to dictate your motion? Track your voice. Did you speak today as one who commands his fate, or did you falter, allowing the whispers of old doubts to shape your tone? Understand this. Repetition is not vanity, it is victory. Each day that you meet yourself in the mirror and speak as the man you are becoming, you carve deeper grooves of belief into the fabric of your being. The mind is clay, and it is shaped most powerfully by the words spoken aloud with feeling and frequency. Whispered dreams die unborn, but spoken certainty becomes law. Some mornings you will feel the full surge of destiny within you. Other mornings you will feel tired, heavy, resistant. It is on those mornings when the ritual matters most. The weak man waits for inspiration. The strong man commands it. Even when you do not feel like the victor, you will declare it. Even when the mirror reflects only the early stages of your journey, you will proclaim the finished work. For what you affirm today in faith will one day be confirmed in sight. Spirit precedes matter. Identity precedes achievement. You must become relentless in this practice. 21 days is not a suggestion. It is the first great forging. It is the initial proof to yourself that you can be trusted with power. Each day you complete the mirror ritual. You are not merely speaking words. You are demonstrating mastery over the most critical battlefield, your own mind. When you hold the mirror with command for 21 days, you hold the world in your hands for the rest of your life. Speak it boldly. It is done. I walk accordingly. Let this be your anthem, your war cry, your hymn of triumph. Let the mirror become your first audience and your most demanding one. For if you can convince the man in the mirror, the world will simply follow. The future is not waiting, it is listening. It listens first to the man who dares to declare himself finished before the world is ready to applaud. Walk to the mirror tomorrow with this knowledge in your heart, and every day thereafter, until your posture, your energy, and your voice proclaim to all of life, the crown is already mine. Delay is not mere pause, it is death in disguise. It does not shout its arrival, nor does it announce its slow corrosion. It creeps into the soul quietly, disguising itself as caution, as wisdom, even as prudence. But I tell you now, delay is the most dangerous disease that can afflict a man possessed of a great vision. It eats not at the flesh, but at the spirit. It rots not the body, but the will. Each day a man delays his decision. Each day he waits to act until he feels more certain, more prepared, more applauded. He dies a little. His fire dims a degree. His voice softens a tone. His dream, once vivid, fades into the pale mist of regret. It is not failure that kills the spirit. It is hesitation. It is the sitting on one's own destiny while the years grow heavy around him like shackles. I have seen many men of brilliant mind, of fine education, of honorable heart, ruined not by misfortune, but by inaction. They knew what to do. They even spoke of it often, but they did not move. They waited for a sign. They waited for a better hour. They waited for permission from a world that never grants it. And when the opportunity passed, they sat in their chairs, growing old not in body alone, but in spirit, speaking of the things they once considered doing, had life been kinder. But life is not meant to be waited upon. It is meant to be seized. It is meant to be grappled with boldness and bent to the will of a man of decision. Look to the example of Manuel Quezon. He did not rise to power and influence through the slow deliberations of common men. He acted when others hesitated. While rivals argued, he moved. While committees debated, he made decisions. While others sought the safer ground of consensus, he planted his flag of conviction. He was not always right in his first step, but he was never wrong in his courage to step. That, my friend, is the secret that separates the rulers from the ruled, the swift blade of decision. You must understand this law and bind it to your spirit. A decision made quickly and corrected if needed is far superior to a decision never made at all. For motion creates clarity. Action reveals the terrain that thought alone cannot see. A man waiting for certainty before he moves is like a farmer waiting for the crops to grow before he plants the seed. Certainty is not the cause of movement. It is the child of it. You must act, and then you will know. You must decide, and then you will learn. You must move, and only then can you master. Delay is the silent killer because it is self-justifying. You will tell yourself that you are wise to wait, that you are gathering information, that you are preparing yourself, but these are the songs of spiritual death. They lull you into a slumber from which you may never awaken. One day missed becomes 2. 2 days become a week. A week becomes a season becomes a lifetime. The man who delays today delays again tomorrow. It becomes his nature. It becomes his fate. And the dream he once burned for is buried alongside him, mourned only by the better self he refused to become. You must be ruthless against delay. You must cut it down at the root with the sword of immediate action. Do not permit yourself the luxury of hesitation. The moment a worthy idea crosses your mind, seize it. Act upon it in some small way at once. If you cannot build the bridge today, lay a stone. If you cannot write the book today, write the first sentence. If you cannot secure the fortune today, make the first call. Delay is spiritual decay, but motion is spiritual multiplication. Each act, however small, compounds your belief. Each decision made swiftly adds to your stature. Each refusal to hesitate hardens your will into iron. Make it your daily ritual to destroy delay before it takes root. Each morning, resolve to make 3 decisions without hesitation. They need not be grand. They may be as simple as rising without the second call of your alarm, sending a letter you have long postponed, making a request you have long feared to voice. But you must move. You must decide. For every small victory over delay builds the habit of speed, and speed is the chariot of destiny. Say aloud to yourself each morning with the authority of a king commanding his army, I am a swift sword, not a broken branch. Let these words ring in your ears and settle into your bones. Walk into your day as a weapon sharpened by decision, not a dull branch bending to every idle wind of circumstance. When a choice stands before you, act. When an opportunity presents itself, seize. When fear whispers, answer with motion. Your answer to fear must always be action, for fear cannot survive the fire of forward motion. Delay dies in your presence because you will no longer provide it sanctuary. It cannot dwell in the heart of a man who acts. It cannot take root in the soil of a mind that plants seeds of swift decision daily. The world itself bows to the man who refuses to hesitate. Life respects the mover, not the waiter. It clears paths for the one who clears doubt from his own mind with the blade of choice. Remember this truth and let it pierce you if need be. A slow decision is a silent surrender. Every moment you delay is a moment your destiny slips into the hands of lesser men. Men who, though perhaps less skilled, less wise, less favored, had the daring to move while you sat. It is not talent the world rewards, it is motion. It is the willingness to commit with imperfect information. It is the daring to act with incomplete certainty. Those who wait for a perfect plan die with plans still unfulfilled. Those who move build empires on stones laid in courage. There will be mistakes, yes, you will move wrongly at times. But the man who moves wrongly learns and adjusts. The man who never moves cannot learn, cannot adjust, cannot rise. Therefore, Make it your creed that you would rather stumble forward than rot in safety. For even a stumble forward is progress, but standing still is slow death. Declare again with the voice of a conqueror, delay dies in my presence. And believe it. Let it become the law by which you govern your hours. Let it shape your stride, quicken your decisions, harden your convictions. Become the man who decides, who moves, who acts while others wait, and you will find that the gates of opportunity swing open, not for the most talented, but for the most decisive. There is a momentum that belongs only to the bold. There is a favor that finds only the fast. There is a destiny that crowns only the daring. Become swift, become sharp, become the man who strikes while the iron is still imagined, and you will find that you forge realities while others still dream. You were not born to shrink. You were not shaped in the secret counsels of the infinite to live bent under the weight of fear, to bow before the loud voice of public opinion, or to kneel before obstacles like a servant pleading for crumbs. No, you were conceived by the same intelligence that carved the mountains and stretched the stars across the heavens. You were placed here to shape mountains, to command the material of life into the architecture of your vision, to seize from the invisible the tangible fruits of your thought, faith, and decision. Every fiber of your being cries out not for survival, but for dominion. You were never meant to drift. You were sent to direct. There was a time when doubt ruled you, when the whispers of fear echoed louder than the commands of your spirit, when you mistook hesitation for prudence and silence for safety. But that time is no more. Doubt is not your master. It is only your memory, a shadow of a man you once were, but will never be again. You have seen too much now. You have tasted certainty. You have walked in the boldness of the man already crowned, and once the soul has tasted authority, it will never again bow to fear without protest. Doubt is a ghost you outran. Fear is a chain you have shattered. The past holds no dominion over a man who has decided that today is the only day that matters. From this moment forward, you must speak it, move it, and live it as if it was finished the moment you first believed. You must walk as the man who has already built the empire, healed the body, restored the fortune, reclaimed the dream. You must not wait for the world's applause to confirm what you know in your spirit. You must not pause for permission from those who never dared themselves. The world bows to the man who refuses to kneel. Life itself, though wild and unruly to the timid, becomes obedient to the man who meets it with steady eye and forward step. Each morning when you rise, it must be as a man crowned already, not a man hoping, not a man begging, but a man knowing. Let your first thought be not of lack, but of dominion. Let your first breath be not of worry, but of worship for the fact that you are already appointed. Speak aloud with a voice that does not ask but commands. I move like a man already crowned. Feel the invisible diadem upon your brow, heavier than gold, for it is forged of decision, of discipline, of the mighty fires of unwavering belief. You must destroy doubt daily. It will attempt to rise like a mist from the cracks of habit, but you must sweep it aside with the certainty of your step. You must act before doubt finishes its sentence. You must move before hesitation has time to whisper. You must strike the ground with decisions that shake loose the dust of the past and plant seeds of a future so inevitable that even time must yield before you. Declare with finality, I destroy doubt with the certainty of my step. Say it until your very heartbeat echoes it. Say it until your body obeys before your mind has a chance to wander. Say it until your presence enters rooms before your feet cross the threshold. Victory walks in your footsteps now. It is not an achievement you wait to gain. It is a companion that walks beside you because of who you have chosen to become. Every stride you take leaves the imprint of success. Every word you speak plants the banner of your sovereignty deeper into the soil of this earth. There is no external sign you need wait for. The greatest signs were written on the tablets of your mind the moment you chose to believe more in your destiny than in your delay. Understand this clearly. The world has no choice but to make room for the man who will not retreat. He who walks as if the path is already paved finds stones arrange themselves under his feet. He who moves as if the outcome is already settled finds that circumstances, resources, and even rivals bend to accommodate his stride. You are no longer the man who waits at the gate. You are the man for whom the gate swings open in recognition of a spirit too royal to be denied. There will be days when the old winds of fear attempt to blow. There will be moments when the old questions arise, but you must stand firm. You must remember that mountains are not shaped by soft breezes, but by relentless forces. And you are now such a force. You must be more stubborn than doubt, more durable than delay, more decisive than fear. You must carry yourself like the answer, not the question. Speak to yourself daily in the language of rulers, not servants. No longer say, I hope. Say, I harvest. No longer say, I wish. Say, I walk. No longer say, I seek. Say, I secure. The man you were is not the man you are now, and the man you are now is only the beginning of the greater one who shall emerge through continued obedience to faith and action. When others hesitate, you must hasten. When others question, you must command. When others bow, you must stand. There will always be doubters, critics, and cowards, but their voices are powerless against the man who refuses to kneel before them. You must live as proof that certainty is greater than circumstance, that faith is greater than fear, that decision is greater than delay. Repeat after me. I move like a man already crowned. I destroy doubt with the certainty of my step. Victory walks in my footsteps. Speak it until you no longer feel as if you are affirming something to become true, but merely describing what already is. Speak it until the old self falls away like a withered husk, and the man of destiny steps forward, full-grown, full-formed, unstoppable. The crown was never outside of you. It was waiting in the secret chambers of your own belief. The throne was never beyond your reach. It was hidden in the field of disciplined daily deeds. The dominion you sought from the world was always first meant to be claimed within yourself, and now, having claimed it inwardly, it will manifest outwardly. Move now into your days with a stride that makes the earth pause to watch. Speak now with a voice that writes laws into the atmosphere. Work now with a diligence that honors your crown. Love now with a strength that requires no apology. Live now with a fire that consumes delay and kindles destiny. You have waited long enough for permission. You have waited long enough for proof. Now you become the proof. Let this final charge sear itself into your spirit. You are crowned already. You are the authority. You are the answer. You are the proof. Walk accordingly.